My name is Adam Hammer. I am class of 2012 from Second Baptist School. I was born in Houston, but lived most of my life abroad. So I grew up in the Middle East, North Africa, Southeast Asia, and then moved to Texas for high school. What made my Second Baptist experience so meaningful was the art of learning to build and love a community. Being in one singular place was new for me. I had moved around every 2 years. Folks that live abroad understand that you build Goldilocks relationships that are deep enough to build rapport, but shallow enough to soften the sting of leaving a new place. My nuclear family was my community. It was the only constant. My sister, my father, my mother, and I, we did everything together. Home became less of a physical location and more where my family was or where my heart was. And second was the first time where you can start to build those deep, personal, meaningful relationships outside of your home. Second became a home to me. It became my first singular home. It became the first place that I invested deeply in relationships. I learned that support systems and community could be bigger than your family, that home could be a group of friends, could be mentors, could be tremendous teachers and coaches. And I attribute the school's willingness to kind of push people to figure out who you are, to try new things. They really do build a well-rounded individual. I took a lot of what I learned in courses like English with Mrs. Dale and math with Mrs. Cates and history with Mrs. Towery. A lot of the skills I learned in those courses really helped prepare me for college, graduate school, and life. You leave Second Baptist into a world that's very institutional. I graduated Second Baptist and left to attend Wake Forest University. I was very focused on creating community there. One of the things I focused on there was what change we needed to bring in our community. After 4 years there, left to move to New York City, where I worked in investment banking at Goldman Sachs. I built meaningful personal relationships where I didn't just know them in the work setting. I knew their families. I know their kids now. They are friends I go to when I'm struggling with things. And one of the wonders of Second is teaching people to take what is institutional and make it feel personal. It's taking a big city like New York or a big corporation like Goldman and making it feel like a small town. Did a few years at Yale and left to join Schmidt Futures, a venture facility for public benefit here in DC. I tried to bring, and what I tried to focus on after Second in college and work and graduate school was to be very intentional. While I was in that space, what could I do to make that space better? What could I do to serve others around me? What could I do to build personal relationships? When I saw a problem, saying, what can I do about it? And sometimes that means running for office to be a community leader to try and affect that change. Sometimes it means writing in the newspaper. Sometimes it means just organizing amidst your local community. The impetus for investing in my community came from Second. I live here in DC, which is the center of bureaucracy. It is a city that is filled with institutions, historic ones. What I've tried to do, and I think a lot of what places like Second taught me, is how to build relationships even in an institutional space at the dinner table, particularly in a very divided time. Even when you don't agree with things, Second teaches people to have a personal relationship with them, and that's the core of human connection. In a moment where I think a lot of people feel a little bit homeless, feel a little bit lost or separated or dislocated, Second has taught what it means to have personal connection. The single most effective way to impact someone is to love them first. And Second did that for me. I joined Second with what I'll call shallow roots and left feeling very rooted. Second has been a binding force. It's a community, and it became that home for me as well.